everyone, it's time for a new video, and today I'm so excited to bring you the MANIC Book Tag, which was just created by Fudwa from Word Wonders. I'm gonna have her channel and her video linked down below, and I'm gonna pop it up on the screen. She's absolutely wonderful. She's one of my favorite booktubers, so please, if you haven't checked her channel out yet, please do. And yeah, so this tag is based on Halsey's newest album. I absolutely love Halsey and I was just so excited to do this. So the first prompt is a book with great character development. I ended up picking The Young Elites by Mary Lou. I read it a long time ago, but I actually reread the whole series last year. It's a trilogy and it is incredible. So I feel like the first book has a bit more of the vibe of like more like a typical YA fantasy, but holy shit, like you have no idea what's coming. So over the course of the series, it's like one of the most intense, great character developments I've ever read about. And I really love the series. I don't want to say any details because I don't want to spoil it. I'm going to have all the links to the books to Goodreads down below, so if you want to read more about the plot or anything, you can check them out. So the second one is a book with mental illness representation. So I ended up picking two. So the first book I have for this is Hold Me by Courtney Milan, which is an adult romance, and this book is absolutely amazing. I'm actually trying to like catch up on Courtney Milan's books and read more of her backlist, but that's not really relevant right now. So this book is incredible. The main character has anxiety and she is a trans Mexican American woman, and the love interest is Vietnamese, Chinese American, and bisexual. And they are just so amazing together, and their romance is kind of really slow burn. I don't want to say the details so that I don't spoil it again, and I feel like not enough people talk about it, and so I just wanted to mention it. I really love it, and I thought that the mental illness representation was great. And the other book that I wanted to pick for this is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. This is one of my all-time favorite books, and I adore it. And the main character has anxiety. She also has suicidal thoughts. So the book gets really intense. It is definitely one of the more intense contemporary books, but it is just so incredible. And I looked at it on Goodreads today before this video, and I saw so many people that I follow that read this book that connected to it so much. I think that most of us who read books will really connect to this so much, because the main character is a bit of a loner. She is really shy, she doesn't have many friends, and she hides from the world quite a lot. And she is famous online, known as Lady Constellation, who has this super famous comic. Like literally the fandom is so huge, everyone like does cosplays and everything, and so she is super famous, but in person like she doesn't really have any friends and she's not popular and all of that. And I just thought that this book was so incredible. I loved the love story. She gets together with a boy that writes fan fiction on her comic, and it is so cute and it is so important, and I feel like so many people will relate to it. When I read this, it felt like it just spoke to my heart, and I adored it, and it means so much to me, and I just love it so much. And again, I feel like this book hasn't really been talked about that much. It's definitely not as talked about as some of the like other YA books, and I think it's absolutely excellent. It came out quite a while ago, I feel like now, but I just absolutely love it and I really want to reread it. The next prompt is horror. So this is something that I stay completely away from, and when Fudwa mentioned it, I was like, oh shit, what the hell am I gonna do? But there was one book that popped up in my head immediately, and that is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. It is tagged as horror on Goodreads, so I decided to mention it here. It's a book that I read a long time ago, and it's a very abstract story that basically is about a boy who has to face this big monster, and that's kind of like a metaphor to his mother's illness. And I don't remember it very well, but it is a book that was really powerful and unlike anything I've read. Next prompt is morally gray characters. This is something that I love so much, but I don't feel like I've read many books with morally gray characters. The only one that I thought of is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in a duology. It is incredible. I love the characters so much. They are definitely morally gray. It's one of my all-time favorite books, and it was also my first big book heartbreak. And I just love it. I love it. I don't really know what else to say about it, and I have no idea how to describe it. It's just there's this big heist that a bunch of outcasts go on, and they're all morally gray, and I love them. And yeah. Also, if you have any recommendations of books with morally gray characters, please tell me down below in the comments, because like I just said, I don't feel like I know enough of them, and I really love morally gray characters, so yeah. The next prompt is a book about an immortal character or a character that goes after immortality, and for that I have the Trials of Apollo series by Rick Riordan. This is actually the 4th book, which is sadly the only one that I have here on me that's a physical copy. The Trials of Apollo is, guess what, about the god Apollo, and the plot is that he is turned into a human by Zeus, and he has to go on all these trials to do a bunch of quests and do a bunch of things to be able to be a god again. And so technically he's not immortal at the moment because he's human, but you know, he's a god, so yes. And it's also one of my all-time favorite series. The last book comes out this year, and in case you didn't know, it's a middle grade series, and it's based on Greek mythology because it's Apollo, obviously, and I adore Rick Riordan, and this is definitely probably, I mean, all of his series are 5 stars for me, and I love them so much, but this one just, I feel like hits different, and also the character development is incredible in this. I originally wanted to say this book for the character development, but then it made sense for the immortality. So he learns a lot along the way, and he grows so much throughout the series. Next prompt is one of my favorite things ever. That is a grumpy character, but that's soft on the inside. I love characters like that so much. The book that I decided to pick for this is Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare. This is a historical romance, and the main character here is a duke, and he's blind and he's super grumpy, but like he is still sweet, and the book is just so fun, and I love the heroine. She is amazing. I actually just talked about this book in my cozy comforting book recommendations video, so if you want to check that out, I'm going to pop it up on the screen and link it down below. But I love it. It's so much fun. The next prompt is a book that you stayed up to finish. I was not sure what I should do for this because I don't know why, but I very rarely stay up to finish books. So I kind of decided to like change it up a little bit, and the books, I have 2 books again, and they're kind of books that I could not stop reading even though it wasn't at night. I just basically read them in one sitting, and I adored it, and I just couldn't stop, and just yes. And they are actually ones that I also mentioned in the Comforting Warm Books recommendation video, and they are Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston and Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed. These are some of my absolute favorite books I've ever read in my life. I adore them to death. I would save these books in a fire. So just a really brief summary. This book is about the first son of the United States falling in love with the Prince of England, and it is so much fun. I love it. It deals with some like more important things, but it's just so fun and wonderful, and I adore the characters so much. Oh my god. And in this book it's kind of similar because again it deals with politics and some more important things and like heavier things, but at the same time it's such a sweet, wonderful, amazing, brilliant love story between a Jewish boy and a Muslim girl, and I adore it. And I don't even know what to say about it anymore because I just love it so much, and I'm begging you to read it if you haven't yet. Clearly I have some strong feelings about those two. So the next prompt is a book that has a toxic or abusive relationship. I decided to mention Slay by Brittany Morris. I don't want to say any details because I feel like it's a spoiler if I do, so I'm not gonna say like what it is exactly, but there is a toxic relationship in it, and it's such a unique book that I really wanted to mention it. I'm not sure if it was published this year, but it's quite a recent release, and it's basically about a teenage black girl who creates a game for black people, since a lot of video games are really racist, and so she wants to create a safe space. Holy shit. I don't even know where to start. This book is really intense. I listened to the audiobook. I really liked it. So if you like are into audiobooks, I really recommend the audiobook for this book. And it is an amazing book that is really important, and it's a lot about racism. It's unlike anything I've ever read. I am not someone that plays video games at all, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it out, and wow, I thought it was a really good book. The next prompt is the second chance trope, and for that I have The Right Swipe by Alicia Rai. The main character in this book is a CEO of a dating app, and she kind of hooked up with this guy a few months ago, and then he ghosted her, and it was like, I think for just one day, one night, but they still had a really strong connection, and so it really hurt her, and they kind of run into each other again. And I just thought this was a really, really amazing book. I loved the relationship between the two main characters, and it dealt with some important things, and I just really love it. The next one is a revenge story, and I could not think of anything for this that I've read, and so I decided to pick Queen of the Conquered by Case and Calendar. This is a book that is a fantasy and is about kind of revenge, and that's all I know about it. I had it on my TBR in November, so I just wanted to say it here to maybe motivate me to read it soon. The next prompt is sadly one that I could not figure out a book for, and that is an intergenerational story. I went deep into my TBR and I could not find anything, so please, if you have any recommendations, tell me in the comments down below. The next prompt is a book that has a celebrity in it, either fictional or real. The book that I'm choosing for this prompt is Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. This could also kind of count for a grumpy but soft on the inside character, and this is one of the best male-male romance books that I've ever read. And both of the main characters are NHL players, and they are rivals, and they are like the most famous players in the world. Basically, stakes are extremely high because obviously not only are they queer men in like a sport world, which is still, you know, kind of difficult, but also one of the characters is Russian, which is also not great. I adore this book. Again, the stakes are so high, which makes it such an intense reading experience. I was rooting for them so hard, and I was just like, oh my god, like how are they gonna work it out? And moving on to the last prompt, it is a memoir, and for this I also have two books, and the first one is one that I have read, and that is Becoming by Michelle Obama. This is actually one of the first books that I listened to on audio when I was like starting to get into audiobooks, so it has a very special place in my heart because of that, and it's such an interesting book, and it's really powerful as well. And the second one is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, which has been on my TBR for like 2 years at least. I even own it physically, but I sadly don't have it on me. I really, really want to read this book, and I really hope that I'm gonna get to it soon, so I just again wanted to say it to hopefully motivate me to finally pick it up and read it. And I think it's gonna be a really important and powerful story as well. That's it for this tag. I enjoyed this so much. Thank you to Fadwa for creating it. And again, please check out her channel. Tell me what you would pick for some of these prompts in the comments down below. And that's gonna be it. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more videos like this. And that's it. Have a great day, and I'm gonna see you soon in another video. Bye!